Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about something you know very well.
Chyna, Chyna, Chyna. I have to have my Chyna. Chyna, Chyna. I love them. Chyna, 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 Chyna. I have to have my Chyna. Chyna, Chyna. I love.
We're going to talk about Chyna. I love how he says China. But we're going to talk about Chyna, and we're also going to talk about Polysign. And if I could get anyone out there, get maybe the same guy, this guy, Mario Bozic, if you could get create me a sound clip the same way you did on YouTube right here on your channel, create me a Chyna sound clip, a clip of me saying Chyna. Let me say it right. Chyna. Chyna. I love Chyna. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about Chyna and we're going to talk about Polysign. Now this video, and listen, folks, I know I'm joking around here, but listen close to what the words that are about to come out of my mouth. I'm going to prove to you at the end of this video, or by the end of this video, that the venture capital firms are not just investing in Ripple. They are also investing in XRP. I think this might give many of you XRP holders out there a very warm and fuzzy feeling. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to show it to you, and it's going to be proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that these venture capital firms, specifically a Chinese venture capital firm that is invested in Ripple, is also invested in XRP. And I'm going to round all this out for you, and I'm going to show you how Ripple has made their way into China. Well, this is me talking. They've made their way into China, and I think they did it by getting the right investors. Watch this. I think this is going to be eye-opening for you. Okay, James Rule XRP is the one that got me thinking about this and set me off on this path. He sent me an SEC document on Polysign. Okay, I mean, that is Polysign. Okay, sent me an SEC document on Polysign. And I was scrolling through here, and I don't necessarily think this is new information as far as these documents, but it's something that I don't think that I have gone down the road of. I was looking at some of these guys these people go under the category of related persons in this SEC filing, okay? And more or less, I think they're people that are either work for the company or they're, founders of Polysign / investors. So you get down here because there's a couple of, like this guy's a venture capitalist. Then you get down here to Ding Chun. Now, who's Ding Chun? When you do a search on Ding Chun, you find out he's the managing partner, founder of Chyna Rock Capital Management Ltd. Now, Chyna Rock, for those of you that don't know, is an investor in Ripple. It says they call themselves now CRCM Ventures. It's a venture capital firm in California that focuses on investing in companies operating in consumer this. So you can tell probably by the name here, they've probably intentionally call themselves CRCM, maybe because in some Americans' minds, China might give them a bad connotation, just politically in a way. So that's probably the reasoning behind that. Who knows? That's just my guess. But let's look at Chyna Rock. Okay, this is CRCM's Ventures. This is their website. Okay, first thing that's interesting to look at on their website, and their website did not always have this all on here, folks. I think they've changed the website because they know what's coming and they know they want to cash in not just on the investment, but the reputational boost that it's going to give them when Ripple goes IPO, folks. Mark my words. All right, it says, we are deeply rooted in Silicon Valley and Greater China. Our experience in cross-border investment enables us to help. I find it interesting that they use the word cross-border because I'm about to show you something, another thing where this company uses the term cross-border. And in both cases, they're talking about cross-border investing, not cross-border payments. But words mean things, right? Our experience in cross-border investment enables us to help entrepreneurs determine the best market entry strategies and connect them to the right partners. Now look who they found it important to highlight. Investing in far-sighted entrepreneurs, imagination is where the future starts. We work with our entrepreneurs at early stage to solve complicated problems at global scale. So they put Brad Garlinghouse on the front of their website, folks. Okay? Put him on the front. Now, if it ended there, that'd be one thing. So we've got Brad Garlinghouse right here, front and center on their website. They want him to be one of their poster boys for their investments. Okay? Wonder why. Now, as you go down, so then they highlight Ripple right here, setting the stage for emerging tech. Our thematic approach creates frameworks for deciding where to build networks, find talent, and deploy capital. CRCM Ventures is focused on consumer, media, health, wellness, frontier, and blockchain technologies. And they feature what? Ripple. Okay? That's 2 times on their homepage. They're featuring Ripple as their core investment. Then I was scrolling down. I was like, well, surely that's it. But no. Then I see this. Listen close, folks. Read it for yourself. Ding and the team he leads at CRCM always demonstrated their ability to see around corners and be bold. They were very early investors in both Ripple and XRP. And from those early days, they helped our team in building contacts and growing our network across Asia. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO. Let's read it again just because. Ding and the team he leads at CRCM always demonstrated their ability to see around corners and be bold. They were very early investors in both Ripple and XRP. And from those early days, they helped our team in building contacts and growing our network across Asia. That is a tweet, folks. I'm about to grab that and tweet it out like there is no tomorrow. That is a big deal, folks, because this is the kind of confirmation. We're not all crazy out here, folks. We're in XRP, and they know it's not just us. These people, the major multi-million-dollar investors, they know that XRP is going to be a monster. They're not just investing in Ripple. They're investing in XRP. They may think XRP is bigger than Ripple. Don't be surprised, folks. I'm not done yet, not by a long shot. I'm going to tie this all together. Now, remember, not only did Brad tell us that they invest in XRP as well, but they helped our team in building contacts and growing out our network across Asia. All right. There's your Chinese connection right there. Make no mistake. Ripple has made their way into China, and I'm gonna tie this all together even more. Watch. So then I go to CRCM's Twitter feed. Who's the first thing they feature on their Twitter feed is Ripple raises $200 million in Series C round led by Tetragon. Again, they feature Ripple. Then remember this? Remember this guy? I've been talking about this. Remember when Ripple started talking about the bread wallet CEO? And in the video, the interview with Pompliano, what does he start talking about? How important Chyna is. He's been named by Yoshitaka Katal, and yes, he calls him Katal's son, named him CEO of SBI Ripple Asia. Remember this? This is SBI Group CEO bags key position at Chyna Investment Association's Committee on Blockchain and Big Data. Yoshitaka Katal has been appointed as the Strategic Investment Senior Advisor of Blockchain Big Data Industry Investment Specialty Committee of the Chyna Investment Association. And yes, that is the same Yoshitaka Katal that is on Ripple's board, along with Craig Phillips from the U.S. Treasury Department, just as a side note. Now, back to the guy that he made CEO of SBI Ripple Asia. Listen to what he said.
Right. And of course, it's WeChat Pay or Alipay. Now, here's the killer. Until recently, you couldn't even load WeChat with money if you didn't have a Chinese bank account. So you figure, what the hell is the Chinese government doing? They're restricting capital coming into the country. They're making it difficult for foreigners to transact. Why would they do that? And then why aren't they getting on the bandwagon? Why don't they reauthorize crypto exchanges? Why did they put rules down so that companies like BTC Chyna and stuff could operate again? Why haven't they bought into new sort of financial technologies and all this stuff? Why are they just using like WeChat Pay and Alipay and all this, right? Well, the reason is because they don't give a crap about anything else. They know that they have the biggest economy in the world and they get to call the shots. Remember who called the shots in the early days of the global economy? It was the United States government. We created SWIFT. We created the entire global banking system. And if people wanted to do business with America, which was and continues to be this big economy, they had to play by the rules of the U.S. Department of Treasury. They had to be on the wire transfer network. They had to let the banks conform to all the U.S. rules, even though the banks are in other countries. It's crazy, but it makes sense because everyone else in the world wanted to do business with America. Guess what's happening right now? Nobody seems to get this problem. In 5 years, if you don't support the digital RMB, you can't do business with China. I don't mean the government. I mean any Chinese company, as is evidenced by the fact that I can't even use their own goddamn cash in their own country anymore. Now, fortunately, the hotels still take Visa and stuff, okay? And nowadays, it's easier for foreigners to load money onto things like WeChat. It's still damn difficult, right? And the reason that they don't care is because they know that everyone's going to play by their rules. So, for example, innovations in technologies to help cross-border payments, like what I see in my role with Ripple and the Ripple joint venture, right, which is a much better solution to cross-border payments than old technologies like SWIFT. And you think, well, why wouldn't China jump at something like this, right? Especially it's, relatively controllable, doesn't have to be like decentralized like Bitcoin and stuff. And the reason is because they don't need to care. They're creating the digital RMB. They're going to impose it upon the world just like the US did with the dollar in the early days. And they know that because they have the most people, of anywhere maybe India, China, right? This kind of thing, right? But anyway, the point is, if you want to do business with them, you're going to have to support it. No one's working on that right now, okay? So that's why at least the way I can help, I hope, with BRD is Blockset, we're looking at having digital asset support for the digital RMB so that companies, like every bank in the world, every company in the world is going to need to do business with China. They're going to need software to basically, handle the digital RMB. To me, this is the biggest, potential sort of massive issue in the economic, global economic situation that people just don't seem to see coming.
Now, if you look, if there's one thing I've learned from covering Ripple, there are many of the original investors that I don't believe are even privy to what's really going on with Ripple. I believe many of us out here that study this every day of our lives know even more about what's being done than some of the early investors who aren't even paying attention anymore. And that includes some of the people that work with Ripple. There's sometimes I question whether they're privy to some of the things that are really going on. And one of the things that's really going on, folks, is this right here. Help our team in building contacts and growing our network across Asia. Brad Garlinghouse. Now, don't just take my word for it. I decided I would go and look for CRCM Ventures on YouTube. So let's show you what I found. This is from July 24th, 2017. Remember that date. All right. This is, I'm going to show you the opening here to about 1:30. By the way, this guy's one of the managing partners of CRCM Ventures.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be here.
See if you notice anything.
Quick question. So how many of you guys have been to China lately? Put your hand up. Yeah? About half the room. Good, good. Because the market is in China for VR. No, just kidding. Oh, thank you. Okay. So I'm here to talk about cross-border investing. So who is CRCM? So I'm one of the partners at CRCM Ventures. We're a venture fund based in San Francisco, Palo Alto, and Beijing. We've been around for over 10 years, invested about 150 companies, both in US and China, about 50-50 actually. We have currently 4 funds that we have invested in, have raised over $150 million. So we're an early stage seed fund, and in the past, we were the seed investors in Youku, which is a YouTube Netflix of China, and another company called Musical.ly, which is one of the fastest growing music content creation apps currently, and some financial technologies such as Ripple, and my personal favorite company right now, Drone Racing League, which we're bringing to China. I'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Okay, and then there was a clip at the 1340. I just wanted to show you so that you understand that these people, there's 3 things you should learn from this video. 1, they invested in Ripple. 2, they invested in XRP. But 3, and maybe most importantly, this company helps American companies make their way into China. Watch this.
Okay, and so, we've been doing this for the last several years, but what are some of the learnings? Going to China is not that easy. It's actually pretty hard. So the number 1 step you need to do is find a trusted partner. So you just talk to me, actually. No, I'm just joking, but a lot of these guys in China, you don't really know who they are. So, but somebody with a reputation, somebody who's done it before, somebody who can speak about some of the experiences that they've done would be good. And you want to do your homework and vet the company as well. And it's very important to find a partner that has aligned interest. So, for example, like I mentioned with Drone Racing League, we found him a partner in China who has been doing drone racing, but just haven't been doing it very well. And the government actually wants to do drone racing as well. So you put these 3 together, then potentially that's a good partnership. And you obviously want to incentivize them correctly. So think about when you're forming a joint venture, how much of the company do you want to give them? Is it like 20%, 30%? What are they going to be happy with? Is it they want controlling a stake in the company, or they're happy just to take an equity share and not do a commercial deal? There's a lot of negotiation that goes into it, and quite important is to find somebody with influence in the government. And the reason I say that is, like I mentioned before, our LPs find it very hard to take their money out of China right now, and largely because of the government. And basically, the government dictates a lot of what's going on in China. So somebody who has relationship in the government can be very helpful.
All right. I think that lays it out pretty well, what's going on. Now, he did this presentation on July 24th of 2017, and I just found it a little bit interesting that on August 28th, just a few days later, Ryan Zagone and Stefan Thomas were presenting Ripple to the Chinese central bank at Ripple headquarters. We've shown you this before. I just thought that was an interesting thing. But if you get nothing out of this video today other than Brad Garlinghouse's quote here, I think that's pretty huge. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that this Chinese venture capital firm does buy XRP. Thanks for listening.